Only two problems with memory, short-term and long-term. Other than that, it works fine. Oh, am I on? Oh, I better behave myself then. Welcome back. So, as I was saying, I've told so many bad jokes, I want to try to balance it out a little bit with what I consider a heartwarming story. You ever hear stories that warm the cockles of your heart? What are cockles of the heart? Does it anybody know? I don't know what they are. But anyway, this lady is telling a story. I heard her. She's a grown woman, has 2 kids of her own. She's recounting a time when she was probably 4 or 5 years old. And for the first time, she's not going to be home for Christmas. They're going to Grandma's house for Christmas. Well, she's worried. She's concerned. She's upset. How is Santa going to know that she's not home? What's he going to do with her presents? So she writes a letter. Dear Santa, thought you'd want to know. We're not going to be home this year. We're going to be at Grandma's. And I don't know, she might have put the address. I don't know what she did. But anyway, she wrote this letter. She shows the letter to her dad. Her dad looks at the letter, goes out to the garage, gets a ladder, puts it up against the side of the house, takes that letter, and attaches it to the chimney. I know. Is that a dad or what? I just love that story. And that fits with what I'm trying to say. If we could all realize we're all in this together, and the less we're worried about our own sake and what's in it for me, the more we can really be Christ-like and be concerned about other people, the happier we are. It doesn't seem that way. God's economy doesn't match up with man's economy. We know that, but anyway, difficult people. We have them in our lives. We are them sometimes. Let's look at some techniques, tools, tips, and techniques to help diffuse tense situations, help prevent ugliness, and what have you. So, is this working again? Well, how about if you advance it, Sharon, can you? I can just shine a laser in your eye when it's time to... It's a bad joke. It's not working. All right, I messed it up, folks. Obviously, it's me. We're going to keep going. There are some good slides in here, but that's all right. All right, rule number 1. When it comes to dealing with a difficult person or a difficult situation, I have my idea of what rule number 1 should be. What's yours? Avoidance? Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't, sometimes we shouldn't. Close your eyes, yeah. What's rule number 1, John? Yeah, and if you think I'm wrong, go back and see rule number 2 is, yeah. John says rule number 1 is I'm always right. Rule number 2 is if you think I'm not, go back and see rule number 1, something like that. What's rule number 1? When you're dealing with a difficult person, you find yourself in a situation that could get out of hand, what's rule number 1? Thank you. Treat others the way you want to be treated. That's a good rule. I like it. Not the answer I had, but it's a good answer. What else? Seek to understand. I love it. Not the answer I'm looking for, but yeah, I love it. What? How did that come up? Did I hit it? I know. Oh, is it really what it says? You did it. Safety for all concerned. That's my rule number 1. You're dealing with a difficult person. You're dealing with a person who may be having an emotional hijack. Their emotions are taking over. Like we talked about earlier, protect yourself. Call 911, call backup, get somebody else involved, get out of that situation. Don't think you have to stand there and try to deal with somebody who could do you harm. To me, that's foolish. Rule number 1, safety for all concerned. Fair enough? Is that working again too, or not yet? All right. Principle number 2, and you've got these on there. You can get it. You can stay up with me. You can't take it with you, and you shouldn't take it personally. Be honest with me. Have you ever learned the lesson that there are times you take things personally and it does more harm than good? And was maybe what you shouldn't have done? Yeah, Norm and I were having that conversation last night. We've done it. We've taken things personally, and once you do, it clouds your judgment. You lose objectivity. And it's much more difficult to deal with the other person or the situation. Another tip is body language. Not body odor, body language. And I got to tell you, I am not an expert in body language. I'm not even sure I believe in what I've heard about body language. For example, what does this mean? I'm closed off? What else does it mean? I'm tired? What else does it mean? I'm thinking? Is it? I'm defensive? Okay, what else does it mean? Could it mean? Go away? No way? Could mean that. What else could it mean? I've made up my mind? Could mean that. What else could it mean? How about I'm comfortable? How about I'm cold? Do you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we read into this, and I hear those answers all the time. I'm defensive. I've made up my mind. Go away. It could just mean I'm comfortable. Now, if it's combined with a facial expression, you get my drift. But be aware of your body language. What message are you sending to this difficult person? Because if they're upset about something and you take a tone with your body, you probably will exacerbate the situation, not make it better. So again, not going to do a lecture on body language. I've heard that a desk, you shouldn't have a desk. It's a boundary, a restriction. I mean, I don't know, maybe. People say it is, so I guess it is. I've never worried about that. Just wanted to throw it in. Smile. When you're dealing with somebody who's upset, they're in your face, they're all agitated, smile. But please don't overdo it. You got somebody who's upset with you, and you put on a Cheshire cat. Ooh, doggers, I think you're not going to make that situation better. You make it worse. But a gentle smile, just curl the lips just a little bit. And you might even want to practice in a mirror just to put on a gentle smile. You're modeling for them pleasantness, and hopefully they're going to respond subconsciously and calm down a little bit. That's the hope. That's the hope. Doesn't always work that way. Here's an interesting one. Laughter is the best medicine. I think if you're dealing with somebody who's upset, you should seek to evoke laughter in the situation. Anybody agree with me? Anybody disagree with me? Please? Why? Why? Because it could come across as we're making fun of them or of their issue. Exactly right. Exactly right. Now, they might not take you seriously. Is that what you said, John? I said, I'm not taking you seriously if I'm trying to make fun of it. Let me tell you a story that happened to me back in my probation parole officer days. And by the way, again, I'm going to make the point, I hope, laughter can be helpful, but boy, when in doubt, leave it out for the reasons that we've just heard. It could make it worse, not better. But I had a lawyer who was upset with me. Who is he upset with me? He called me on the phone, and he used words you're never going to hear me use in a church. He was just upset. And finally, he got to me. And I said, I don't have to take this from you. And I slammed the phone down. He got me. Whew, I was upset. And I quickly called the judge. Talked to the judge, and the judge agreed with me, so I was fine. Well, he wasn't done yet. The lawyer, I'll call him Buford. I don't think we have any Buford lawyers in Farmington. He calls my boss. He says, I want to come talk to you about price. Boss says, okay, come on over. Boss calls me and he says, what's Buford upset about? I said, I don't know. I know he's upset. But I don't know all the details. I know it involves this client, but I don't know. So Buford comes over, and oh, he's hot. And we go into this private office with the boss, Buford, and myself. We sit down, and just then the phone rings. Why do we do that? Why do we interrupt the people who are in our presence to answer a phone call from somebody else? I do it. I try not to, but I don't know why we do that. Anyway, the boss answers the phone. I turned to Buford. I said, Buford, what's your problem with me? And I said it gently. What's your problem with me? He said, I'll tell you what it is. You're a snake in the grass. You got no morals. You're lower than the low. Okay. I started life in Rhode Island. Sarcasm is an art form. Don't try to match wits with me in sarcasm. With anybody from New England, you will lose. Just trust me when I tell you, I could have come back at him, no contest. But you know what I said to him? Because again, I had already worked through my frustration. I was calm. I said, well, Buford, does that mean I don't get to ride in your new car? He had just bought a new car. And I said it just that way, again, smiling, lighthearted. I was, well, Buford, does that mean I don't get to ride in your new car? He said, and I wish you could have seen him. He went, what? I mean, he was bracing for me to slam him back, and the fight would have been on. And he almost did. He almost had a physical reaction. He said, oh, Ron, don't be childish. I said, Buford, who's being childish? What's this snake in the grass business? What's your concern? And he told me. He told me. And in fairness to him, if I had done what he thought I had done, he had every right to be upset with me. He had every right. He thought I had done a double deed, double turn on him, whatever. He had made an agreement with the district attorney about one of my clients to get him out of jail. I didn't want him out of jail. I wanted him to spend the weekend for some jail therapy. No, I mean that. It was good for him. He needed to learn some consequences. So what it looked like was he made the agreement with the assistant district attorney, and the assistant district attorney and I then made a separate agreement to let him in, to leave him in. Because I was the only one that could let him out. The judge, of course, or me. So he thought he had been, what's the word, betrayed, cheated, whatever. No wonder he was hostile. I said, Buford, I never talked to the DA. He's staying in jail because I think it's good for him, and we'll let the judge decide on Monday. And once he understood, his anger went away. And in the ensuing years, we played tennis together. When we saw each other, we'd always wave. It was always friendly. I got to ride. No, I don't think I ever did ride his car. But thanks for paying attention, Jeannie. But laughter in that case diffused the situation, helped to turn it from a hostile to where we could talk with each other, not at each other. So again, if the person thinks you're laughing at them, don't do it. If you can get them to laugh with you, yeah, I encourage it. I encourage it. But when in doubt, leave it out, all right? Here's another one. You've got somebody all upset, all agitated. Do your best to keep calm. Soften your tone. Soften your tone. Somebody's yelling at you. If you match them, that's escalation and the fight is on. Look out. If you can keep a soft tone, they've got to calm down just to hear you. And they may not realize it at first, but after a while, if you're not matching them, they're going to match you. Keep a soft tone. Is it easy? Oh, I'm not saying that necessarily. But it's in your best interest, in their best interest, in the best interest of the situation to keep a soft tone. Model for them how you want the situation to go. What's the most beautiful sound in the world to a person? Baby laughing? Oh, that's a good answer. It's not the right one that I'm looking for, but it's probably the better answer. Their name. Their name. People love the sound of their name. So use it. John, I can see you're upset here. Mary, what's going on? Bob? Sue? You look for ways to use their name, personalize, humanize them and the situation. And again, these are all just little things that can add up. The bottom line is you have to maintain your self-control. If somebody else is losing theirs, one of the two have to maintain theirs, or it's going to go get ugly. Well, it's probably going to be you. You have to maintain a soft tone. You have to avoid a break. You have to avoid emotional hijacking. What a great picture. Again, we talked earlier, you have a part of your brain that thinks, you have a part of your brain that feels. You have other parts as well, of course. But what can happen to us as human beings is those emotions can hijack our reasoning powers, our thinking powers. There's a researcher in Washington named John Gottman. John Gottman calls it being flooded. That your emotions will flood out your thought processes. Most of us in this room can remember cars with carburetors. Most of us in this room got a car flooded at some point in our lives. Younger folks, it's fuel injection, they don't even know what we're talking about. But if a car was flooded, what was the only remedy? Wait, what are you saying? Go away. There's always a wise guy mechanic in every group. Another one, huh? Pull what to the carburetor?
Pull the top of the carb off the boats.
Pull the top of the carburetor. Yeah, thank you. Go away. For us normal people, the answer was wait. There was too much gas in the carburetor. You had to wait for that gas to seep out, and then you could start the car. Well, suppose the car's flooded and you keep turning the key. Are you making it better, worse, or no different? Worse. Suppose the car's already flooded and you pump more gas into it. Pump more gas. You making it better, worse, or no different? Making it worse. You have been in a situation, I'm willing to wager, with another human being where one or both of you were flooded. Your emotions had superseded your reasoning, and you kept turning the key and giving it more gas. True or false? Thank you for your honesty. Now, can anybody share with us a time when that was a smart thing to do, that it was helpful? We're glad that we kept turning the key and giving it more gas. I'll wait. And I'll wait. And I'll wait some more. And I doubt I'm going to come up with an answer. You know, maybe every once in a while, yeah, we did it till we got tired and it got better. Well, I don't like your odds. Call it timeout. Call it timeout. Do whatever you have to do to avoid emotional hijacking. And that's what I want to focus on in the next few slides of showing you how you can do that, how you can avoid emotional hijacking. Were we able to find that video at the end? It is there, okay. Was it there already?
Yes.
Oh, I'm smarter than I thought I was. That's not difficult. Into both? Okay. All right. Here are some ways to make sure you stay in your thinking brain. Don't give rise to the emotional brain. Number one, ask questions. Ask the other person questions. Think up some questions to ask. Well, Mary, I can see you're upset here. Can you tell me what's going on? Can you give me a little history, please, John? What's the situation here? Ask questions like, what would you like to see happen? How can we get this resolved to your satisfaction? I don't want you asking questions like, what the blank's the matter with you? Ask questions. Because to answer your question, they're going to have to get back to their thinking brain. And while you want to stay in your thinking brain, you want to help them get back to their thinking brain as well, as quickly as possible. Now, they may try to answer you, you bet I'm upside down, but they may try to answer you from their emotional brain. Keep calm, ask it again. Ask another question. Over time, they're going to run out, in a short time, they're going to run out of steam. You can have a rational conversation, thinking brain to thinking brain. One question that I would probably ask, given the situation, I don't recommend it to you, but you might ask, I'm not sure about something here. I don't know. Would you rather attack me or attack the problem? Which do you prefer? And again, say it calmly. Don't, matter-of-factly, don't say, what's up, brother? I'm not sure what you want here. Do you want to attack me or do you want to attack the problem? Because if it's attack me, I'm just not up for that. If it's attack the problem, I'd like to help you. Can we talk? You stay calm, you model, you ask them questions, trying to get them back to their thinking brain. Ask yourself questions. Is it ask yourself questions or speak to yourself? Which one is this? Speak to yourself, yeah. Speak to yourself. I love that picture. I love that picture. Speak to yourself in the third person. If I'm starting to get upset, I need in my inner mind to hear, Ron, you're getting upset. Ron, what do you think you ought to do? Ron, you think maybe you ought to go for a walk? Ron, do you really want to do what you're thinking about doing? Ron, do you think maybe you should do something different instead? Ron, by using your own name, talking to yourself in the third person, there is research that shows that helps us to make better decisions. I don't know if it's like we hear our parent talking to us or our conscience or the Holy Spirit. I don't know. But I know if you can talk to yourself in the third person, you're going to lock yourself into that thinking brain. And I trust you each one more to make better decisions from your thinking brain than your emotional brain. Have I made that case? I hope I have. I hope I have. Another serious consideration is your timing. There are bad times and good times to have a conversation. And so many conversations are held at the wrong time. What's that expression, halt? Anybody know what the halt stands for? You should never try to talk. Do you have it, Debbie? Okay. If you're hungry, if you're angry, if you're lonely, or tired. Those are 4 states of being that you don't want to try to have a difficult conversation with somebody. If you're hungry, your blood sugar goes out of whack, go eat something. Fix that. Diabetics perhaps even more so than folks who don't have that malady, but all of us, our blood sugar can get such that we can be ugly. If you're angry about something else, and the next story is going to deal with that, but don't try to have a conversation with somebody else when you're angry. Just don't even do it. Postpone that conversation until your anger subsides. If you're feeling lonely or tired, same thing. Don't do it. So pick a time, set a time, schedule a time where you're going to meet and you're going to talk about the situation using the love talk or the speaker-listener technique. Timing matters, big time. All right, time for my favorite story of all time. Maybe one of them. Everybody, left thumb. Grab it. Grab it. There is some research that says grabbing your thumb is comforting. It's kind of like why children suck their thumbs. There's some comfort somehow in grabbing your thumb. So if you are feeling comforted right now, continue to hold on to your thumb. If not, you can let it go. But I want to teach you the grab your thumb technique. This comes from counselors back in Charlotte, North Carolina, Tom and Bev Rogers. Tom and Bev Rogers have the Rogers Christian Counseling Center. I used to go to a conference every year for like 6 or 7 years in a row. They were always presenters. I was just there, a sponge, taking it in. But I'd run into them, and we struck up, I don't want to say a friendship, but yeah, I've got their cell number. I can call them if I need to. They're good folks. They've been very helpful to me. They tell a story that they were counseling a couple several years ago. He was 6 foot plenty. She was 5 foot barely. He was a traveling salesman. She was a stay-at-home mom. And he had a problem with anger. He would come home and just get upset about something. Why isn't dinner ready? Why isn't the house picked up? Why are the kids a mess? Blah, blah, blah. It didn't matter. He would get on her case for something. Well, she finally had enough of that. She said, we're going to counseling. And he said, okay. And at counseling, they taught him, you are never angry just because you're angry. Anger is what's called a secondary emotion. There's always an underlying reason, why are you angry? So they taught him, if you can figure out why you're angry, you can make a more reasoned and rational and appropriate response. So they taught him, when you're angry, grab your thumb, look at your fingers, and think, why am I angry? What should I do about it? Actually, they say that anger is a gift. Anger is a gift. You're either feeling guilty. You can only feel guilty so long before that turns to anger. You're feeling inferior or inadequate, similar but different terms. That's the I. You're feeling fearful, or you're feeling a traumatic memory. You're reliving a traumatic memory. Those can all quickly lead to anger. I simplify it. Grab your thumb, look at your fingers, and think, why am I angry? What should I do about it? I'm going to tell you a story. This is a true story. They go to the counseling, and they teach him that, and he says, okay, I'll try it. I'll try it. And so for the next several months, when he starts to get angry, he grabs his thumb, looks at his fingers, thinks, and takes an appropriate response. He doesn't just react. For months, there's peace in that family. No angry outbursts from Dad. And then one day he comes home, and his 15-year-old daughter greets him at the door and says, Dad, can we go for a drive? She had her learner's permit. He had a shiny sports car. He said, all right, sweetheart, here are the keys to the car. Go start it, but don't move it. I'll be right out. Ladies, help me with this one, please. You give the keys to a car to a 15-year-old girl. You tell her to start it, but not move it. What is she going to do? Thank you for your honesty. Right into and over the brick mailbox. This is a true story. Stay with me. Dad hears the commotion, comes running out, sizes up the situation, instantly starts to experience an emotion. Anybody want to guess what it is? It starts with the letter A. The daughter jumps out of the car and yells, Dad, quick, grab your thumb. I love this story. It's not over yet. He grabs his thumb, and he calmly walks over to his daughter. And he says, sweetheart, there are going to be some consequences for what just happened here. You willfully disobeyed me. You're going to pay to fix the car. You're going to pay to fix the mailbox. And your mom and I are going to have a discussion about when you'll be driving again. He said, but I want you to know this. You are my daughter. You are far more valuable, precious, and special to me than any car or any mailbox. I love you. Come here. And he gave her, I know you feel it, don't you? He gave her a father's reassuring, loving embrace. Do you think that daughter had some inkling that maybe she had messed up? Do you think at that moment she needed a lecture on why thou shalt not drive Daddy's car into and over a brick mailbox? I don't think so. She needed validation. She needed reassurance. She needed comfort. And because he grabbed his thumb, he was able to give that to her. Now I'm going to stop making eye contact for a few moments. Because in a room this size, chances are you had a dad who should have known to grab his thumb. Some of you were on the receiving end of some ugly, ugly words, ugly acts, and I'm sorry, and I mean that. I am sorry. I was wrong. It wasn't your fault. It shouldn't have happened. But you know what? We can't go back. We can go forward. And we can make sure that nobody ever has to feel our wrath. If we'll grab our thumb, look at our fingers, and think, what should I do in this particular situation, rather than give rise to the emotions. Do you see why I love that story? Grab your thumb. And people remember that story more than any other I tell, I think. I have people come up, oh, I'm grabbing my thumb. I keep looking at people. I sometimes look to see if there's a wedding ring, but then I look to see if there's a cast on their thumb. Grab your thumb, look at your fingers, and think, I know you'll be glad you did. Another tactic to make sure you stay in your thinking brain and that you avoid ugly situations is to be disruptive. Be disruptive. I wrote about this in my blog 3 or 4 months ago now, probably. I said, when I was a kid, I used to get into a lot of trouble for being disruptive. And now I'm an adult, and I tell people they ought to be disruptive. I should probably explain that, shouldn't I? Let's say you're having an argument with your spouse. Getting into that, it's not going well. Here's what you got to do. Say, you know what, hold on. I all of a sudden need some fresh air. How about if we go out for a walk and let's talk about this on the way? You're disrupting the cycle of back and forth. You're disrupting the attack and defend, the shoot and reload. You're disrupting that cycle, excuse me. And then you can get outside and you can say, you know what, we need to talk with each other, not at each other. Why don't you go first? Help me to understand you, and I'll do my best, and then hopefully it's your turn to understand me. Disrupt that cycle. You're having an argument with your teenager. How old are you? 12? You're safe. I know, we'll be praying for you shortly. You can say, you know what, hold on. I all of a sudden have an urge for an ice cream cone. How about if we hop in the car, drive down, get us an ice cream? You're disrupting that cycle. Do you see what I'm saying? It's simple. It's simple, but sometimes when we're caught up in it, we don't have these thoughts. Stay in your thinking brain, you will. Disrupt, say, hey, let's go get an ice cream. You get in the car and you say, all right, hey, we need to talk with each other. With, not at. You go first. Talk to me civilly. Talk to me respectfully. I need to understand you. And then hopefully you need to understand me as well. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns about these different ways to deal with difficult people or difficult situations. Oh, I forgot to add one. Take a nap. That's always a good one, too. I'm finding I need a nap right now. Any questions? Because here's what I want you to do. At the bottom, I want you to make a commitment to yourself for the next minute. I won't go more than a minute. I'll even set my timer. What are you going to do about this? Look over that list. What's something you want to start doing? What's something you want to stop doing? What's something you want to continue? Hopefully this looks familiar. And what's something you want to change? Nobody's looking at your notes. This is just between you and yourself, you and God. Think of a relationship that maybe is not where you want it to be. Which of these techniques can you apply to help make it better? Do you mind passing those out? Please. Start, stop, continue, or change. Also passing out one more. You see there it says principles for raising conflict productively. You don't have one yet? You do now. Did I give you enough? Here. Got plenty. All right, let's just look these over. Briefly, again, just some general principles. I have no idea where I got this. Absolutely none. It's not mine, but I'd give credit if I knew who to give credit to. I don't. Number one, again, take care of yourself. Self-care is not selfish. What did I just say? Self-care is not selfish. And sometimes we don't do that enough. Again, think about timing. We talked about that. Be clear about your real concerns. What are you trying to accomplish here? You want to beat the other person up figuratively? Do you want to prove you're right and they're wrong? Or do you want to resolve the situation? Do you want to maintain a healthy relationship? Be clear about your real concerns. Use I messages. We talked about that in the speaker listener. Frame appropriately. Again, never attack the other person. Talk in terms of interests, behavior that can change. Don't ever attack somebody for something out of their control. How tall are you, Ray? 6 foot? I hate people who are 6 foot. What can Ray do? But now change that. I want you to change. I mean, come on. Can't we do that? We do that. Don't let me get on a soapbox, but racism. I hate racism. We look at people, they're a different color than I am, so I hate them. As if they chose that, or as if I'm somehow better than they are because I'm of a different color. Behavior, yes, we can change behavior. There's a lot of things about us we can't change. Be real, no sugarcoating. Again, focus on what can change, the future. Don't keep looking at the past. Don't try to convince others of your position as rightness. You have a right to your feelings. They have a right to theirs. My buddy George Sharp says he thinks everybody's entitled to his opinion. What's his other line? He's got, oh, yeah, this is George. He'll be having a conversation, and he'll say, you know, that's enough of me talking about me. Why don't you talk about me for a while? Love George Sharp. Don't raise the conflict by suggesting the solution. We were talking about this earlier. There's a certain gender that seemed to be wired to fix things. I was trying to keep it hidden. Ladies, men are fix-it people. That's probably not a news flash to you. We are wired to fix things. You give us the tools, the time, the resources, we'll fix it. You help us know what the problem is, we'll fix it. But somehow that's not a bad thing. God wired us that way. That's a good thing. But sometimes the females in our lives will come to us and they just want to be heard. They don't want to be fixed. And when the man throws out the solution right away, it's demeaning, I would think. It's disrespectful. Just hear me out. So don't raise the solution. Even when you're dealing with another man, don't raise the solution too soon. Hear it out. Dr. Covey has a thing he calls diagnose before you prescribe. Don't prescribe a remedy before you even know what the ailment is. And always assume that other viewpoints are possible. Just because it's not a viewpoint that you have. It could be right. They may be more accurate than you are, more close to the situation's remedy than you are, what have you. So, all right. I want to close with a video. I'm not going to set it up too much. I don't know if I want to set it up at all. It's called The Best Shift Ever. It's a waitress who's working. And this apparently is a program. I forget what it's called. He'll say it in a moment, where they pull pranks on people. They're pulling a prank on this lady, giving her the best shift of work that she's ever had in her life. And you're going to wonder, Ron, why are you showing us this video? Because I can. Because I think it just speaks volumes in so many ways. We'll talk about it when it's over. And we hit play.
Guys, you all know here at Break, we play pranks on people all the time. So we thought we'd switch things up a bit and prank it forward, providing our marks with some unexpected goodness through positive pranks. Break! We're here at the Spring Street Smokehouse, where waitress Chelsea Roth works. We all know waiters and waitresses are some of the most underappreciated people on the planet. Trust me, I used to be one. And let's face it, there's a lot of bad tippers out there. You know who you are. Like many waitresses, Chelsea has struggled financially. She had to raise her little sister from when she was just a girl. She overcame a severe eating disorder, and her car is a complete piece of junk. The limited free time that Chelsea does have is spent running her own nonprofit that helps people recover from eating disorders through yoga. If anybody could use a break, it's Chelsea. So today, we're gonna prank it forward by sending in a few of the best tippers we've got to see if we can give Chelsea the best shift ever.
Go get that table. I'm sending in 2 people to sit at that 4th top.
Yeah, Chelsea, will you just get 7 and 3?
I know Chelsea, when she gets all of these surprises, she might just faint, and she deserves every bit of it.
I'm gonna do the half slab just because I'm in a bit of a hurry, and the baked beans.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Wow, awesome.
Try some things up.
Leave a 20 on the table and then 1,000 in the footboard.
What did he say? I thought that's what he said.
What did you say to that man? I didn't say anything to him. Did he literally just leave you $1,000? Like, what?
I was gonna go out and stick the rest of your pocket.
What?
What do you want me to do with it? She didn't want to keep the money.
That's in her nature, just to split it up with everybody. We'll put it here. She doesn't want to hold onto it. She's like freaking out.
How's your day going, all right?
It's interesting.
Interesting good?
Always interesting.
Oh, well, that's a good attitude.
And travel agent's already set.
I'm still embarrassed. I only had money for the actual bill.
Okay.
But we didn't have it for the tip. But we have a travel agency, and we get these vouchers for 2 people to Hawaii.
It's all expenses
We
paid.
use them all the time. I'm saying,
I insist, it's no sweat off our back.
Really?
awesome.
I'm Chelsea's boss. Believe me, Chelsea deserves a vacation.
What is happening to you today? I quit. I quit.
The next surprise I'm really excited about because it could really change Chelsea's life.
Dr. Pavoy, cue the yoga book. Make sure Chelsea can see it.
You do yoga, right?
I do yoga?
I do yoga. I do a lot of yoga. I teach yoga.
How did you get into yoga anyway?
It's a long story. I had a really severe eating disorder when I was young. I came out of treatment, a therapist said, I think yoga would be really beneficial for you. It was life-changing.
When I was approached to help Chelsea, I did my own research on her, and I was just so taken with her story and how hard she worked to go from the bottom of the pit to the top, and is so proud of her achievements and wants so much to give back to other people that I was just thrilled to be part of it.
I've been running a nonprofit eating disorder program for the last 14 years, and I'm just opening up a new program. The one component that I'm missing is yoga. I was wondering if you have any interest in, being part of the program.
Really?
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 Wow. That's not what I was expecting today.
Just happened to be here and meet you, and I thought,
That's sort of random.
is it something you're interested in?
Yes.
And this could be a great thing.
Sorry, I'm sort of like taken aback, but thank you.
She used this journey of yoga to bring her to where she is today. So it's just amazing.
Okay, finally I'm good to go. Whoops. Car key. That's you. That's your car key.
I don't understand.
Let's go outside. Come on, let's go outside. You got a minute. I'm ready.
Don't let her see you.
I think she's gonna be really amazed that not only the show, but the people around her wanted to do this stuff for her.
See that car? That's your car.
Why are you doing
Let's do this because I want to give you a tip today.
Who are you?
I'm giving you a car. Come on. Let's go. Let's see who's inside. Wait a minute. Yep. New car. Good friend. You're a great.com moving forward. And you just got the best ship ever.
I know. I've been almost passing out. I couldn't tell anybody.
We can cut it, Sharon,
No one
please.
else is more deserving than Chelsea. It's extremely inspiring for me in my life.
And then the work
She,
that she's doing right now.
She gets $1,000 tip. Is that pretty cool? Anybody want to say no thank you to that? She gets free vouchers for 2 to Hawaii. Would that put a smile on your face? It would me. Oh, stop it with that. She gets her dream job. She gets a new car. When does she totally lose it? And I love to close with that video. I should have warned you about the yoga. I know Christians have an aversion to yoga for different reasons in different places, but don't lose the point of the video, please. But we're in this together. We need each other. We impact each other so powerfully. And I just think that video says that wonderfully. So with that, yeah, I guess we should join them. Let's go ahead and applaud. But seriously, I might have brought up some issues between last night, this morning, or this afternoon that are personal to you, that you don't want to voice in a setting like this. Anybody on Facebook or YouTube, call me. My name's in the book, Ron Price, 505-324-6328. Or send me an email. I'll give you the... There's a copy of my information on the front counter. I'd be more than happy. I'm not going to give you hours and hours, but call me. I'll give you some thoughts to think about perhaps that might be helpful, but I'm certainly willing to do that. So it's been my joy to be with you folks. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for coming. Pastor John, do you want to close us out again as you've done so admirably, please?
Well, hopefully you guys all got a blessing. Let's give him another clap there. Thanks, Ron. Thanks for blessing us. And let's bow our heads. Dear Lord, we just thank you for your Sabbath. We thank you for the time we've been able to spend. We thank you for Ron and the information. Lord, we again, not just information, but tools, and help us to use those tools in our lives to enrich our relationships. Help us, Lord, to continue to look to you in all things. Lord, just bring a blessing on each person and their families. And Lord, we pray for healing in relationships too. Be with us all as we go our separate ways. Give Ron safe travel back to Farmington. And Lord, we pray for your soon coming. In Jesus' name, amen.